Let's see. Ouch. And here's the poll. The first question is, who is joining us today? Let's see. And you can start answering. Let's see. We have a couple. Give you a couple minutes. We have a couple of the advocates. Let's see who else is it. Is there any law enforcement or nurse examiners? Let's see who is joining us this afternoon. Okay. Let's see. And let's see. Here are the results of who is joining us. It's a couple of advocates in the community-based advocates, and a couple of system advocates. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to move forward, and I am happy to introduce to all of you our presenter today. And today we are happy to introduce to all of you Sharon Villanueva, who is the coordinator of the Colorado Vine, and she is going to talk to you about the program. So welcome, Sharon.
Thank you, Guida. I appreciate it. And I'll follow that up that this is my first webinar as well. So we will go ahead and go into my PowerPoint. Okay, VINE. What is VINE? VINE stands for Victim Information and Notification Every Day. I wanted to ask how many of you have ever heard of VINE? I'm also doing a poll right now, so if you can let me know if any of you have heard of VINE. Looks like the majority of you have heard of VINE, which is awesome. So for some of you, this may be a refresher course. But what is VINE? So VINE stands for Victim Information Notification Every Day, and it is a notification program that notifies whoever registers when an offender is getting out of jail. So since most of you have heard of VINE, possibly you have registered for VINE. How many have you ever registered for VINE? It's another quick poll. Just wanted to see how many of you know that this is primarily, when it was originated many years ago, it was for victims. But as we all know, there are so many people that are tied to a case. So I encourage all my victim advocates to register. I encourage law enforcement. You know, there's friends, families of victims, so many people that can be tied to a crime, and they would want to know when they're getting out of jail. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the Colorado-Vine.com website. This is the public website that all of you have access to go on. It is a total anonymous site, so you do not need to put your name in. It does not matter what your tie with the case is. You're simply going to put in your contact information. Because a lot of people think this is just for victims. And like I said, register. It's free. It's anonymous. You know when an offender is getting out of jail the same time a victim knows when an offender is getting out of jail. So that way, if they have any questions, they can go ahead and call you, or you can call them because you're going to get the notification at the same time. So we're going to go on to the VINE website and actually register against an offender. So I'll show you how easy it is. And then the second part, we're going to go into a program, a database called Vine Watch, which is a secure website. And this is like a behind the scenes for Vine. So you can look up an offender. We do have juveniles in here as well as adults. The adult website, the adults is anybody can go online. Juveniles is not out there for the public, but you can pull it in Vine Watch. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to register victims for, I'm going to show you when you register, you can see the registration on there. We can confirm if a notification was sent out. There's a way to stop a notification if it goes to the wrong person. So there is a lot of great things with Vine Watch. So we're going to go into that after we get done with our PowerPoint. So the next thing I would like to do is to go into it's a short video, but it gives you a really good, some great information, background about Vine, and then just a lot of good details about Vine. So we'll go ahead and watch this video.
She was beaten and abused by her ex-husband, who was serving time for assault. It's estimated that 4 million women are attacked each year by their husbands or their boyfriends. Occasionally that man goes to jail. Rarely is the victim told when he's released.
But even scarier for the victim is not knowing when the batterer will get out of jail. Victims of crime in the islands will now be able to track offenders' every move while prisoners are in custody.
This allows users of the system to receive real-time information about the custody status of offenders after registering online with the program, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Every time we read, watch, or listen to the news, crime stories top the headlines. We learn about a robbery, an assault, or a senseless killing. Crimes that leave victims, families, and the public looking for answers. As criminal justice professionals, we do our best to ensure that victims and their families are kept up to date on custody or court matters. But even with a vast amount of resources, victims may not get the information they need when they need it. Mary Byron was one of those victims, shot to death on her 21st birthday by a former boyfriend turned rapist, and finally, her killer. Mary's murder raised an issue that plagued victims and their families for years. How could people be notified in advance of an offender's release from a county jail or state facility? Mary's parents were told that they would be notified, but they weren't. And within days of Donovan Harris's release, their daughter was dead. But Mary's story didn't end with her killer's conviction. In fact, her legacy had just begun. The Byrons became leading advocates for automated victim notification. Working with officials in their community, the Byrons led a campaign that would revolutionize the way victims and their families keep track of offenders through the criminal justice system. Their work led to the development of the nation's first automated victim notification system, called Vine, Victim Information and Notification Every Day. Vine provides victims, families, and the public with two very important items: information and notification. Through a national communication center, Vine connects crime victims in small towns and large cities with critical offender and court information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Using Vine only takes a few minutes, but people can't use it if they don't know about it. That's why your participation is vital. Whether you are a law enforcement officer, victim advocate, or prosecutor, you have direct contact with crime victims and their families at a time when they need answers.
Well, its critical role was delivering information to victims in a timely fashion, getting them the information they needed so that they could take care of their own safety plan. And that role really hasn't changed over the years. While Vine has evolved from a technology standpoint, that victim may get that information today via a text message. They may look it up on a mobile device or go to a website. They may still get their telephone to ring, but now it's more likely a cell phone, less likely a home phone like we would have had back in the beginning. So while the technologies continue to evolve, the purpose of Vine and the role, the heart of Vine really hasn't changed. It's about making sure that information to that victim gets there in a timely fashion so that they can either create a safety plan or just regain kind of the control and power in their life that they've lost.
Vine allows you to call or go online anytime from anywhere to learn the custody status of an offender. Most communities use Vine to register for and receive notification upon an offender's release from jail or prison. Some states also use it to follow up on an offender's next scheduled court date. Using Vine is a simple 3-step process: information, registration, and notification. Users need only a touch-tone phone to call Vine. Once Vine has been contacted, the caller will be walked through the information and registration process.
Hello. Welcome to the Kentucky Department of Corrections Automated Victim Notification Service.
During registration, the caller will be asked to provide a phone number and 4-digit personal identification number, or PIN. Once registered, the caller will receive an automatic phone call when there is a change in the offender's custody or court status. Calls continue for a minimum of 24 hours or until the correct PIN is entered. The PIN confirms and stops the calls. Vine is also available on the internet at vinelink.com. Click the state that you are interested in and follow the directions. With VineLink, you have the option to register for notification by phone, email, or text. Notification is also available by TTY. In addition, your Vine service has 24-hour live operator assistance. Please refer to the fact sheet for more details about Vine in your area. Crime victims may not be in a state of mind to remember registration details. Brochures and other printed materials are available that describe Vine and how to use it. Let's highlight some key points. Vine is anonymous. Offenders cannot determine who has registered for notification. Vine registration is safe and secure. Vine is accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with live operator assistance. Vine is constantly monitored by experts to ensure service without interruption. There are no limits to the number of calls that can be made, and people can call from anywhere at any time. There are no fees. All calls to and from Vine are free. Another key point: victims and their families need to know that offenders, even when arrested, can be out on bail in days or even hours after an arrest. Across the country, police, prosecutors, and victims have come forward in support of Vine.
Vine to me is a notification access point for victims. It would be empowerment and just a peace of mind portal.
To me, it's the safety of victims. Beyond being an automated notification system for victims, it is certainly a peace of mind. Vine is there for them 24/7, whereas victim advocates like myself cannot be. We cannot do this job without Vine.
Vine means life-saving. Vine means the ability to intervene in a way that literally can save lives.
Mary didn't have a chance because she didn't know that her rapist was out of jail. And I think the only good thing that has come from that horrible tragedy is the fact that the Vine system has been instituted in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And we'll probably never know how many murders and other crimes have been prevented.
I like to think she would be alive because we would have been given the choice of getting her protection, getting her out of state, getting her away from the whole situation.
Vine is about empowering crime victims to take control of their lives again. When you tell victims about Vine, you are serving and protecting your community. But most of all, you are giving people a chance to help themselves.
Okay, so that was a great overview of Vine. But let's go into things a little more in detail. So how do we get that information for Vine? So Appriss is the vendor for the Vine software. They're based out of Louisville, Kentucky. They have created an interface with the jails here in Colorado. So they actually go in and pull the jail data every 15 minutes. So say we have an offender that's coming into a jail. within a 15-minute window of them inputting that information into their system, that information is available for the public to register. So it's a pretty fast time frame from when someone can register. Now, I know that we all know just because somebody is arrested doesn't mean that they immediately go into Vine. A lot of times they're put in a holding cell for a period of time before they actually are inputted into their jail management system. But once they are in their JMS, it's within a 15-minute window. That information is available, which means also when a release happens, there's a 15-minute time frame for that notification to go out from when they input it into their system. So pretty fast time frame for notifications to go into the system and for registrations to go into the system and notifications to come out of the system. If we were all registered to receive a notification, all of our phones would go off at the same time, or all our emails would go off. There's not a staggered time frame. We currently have 55 agencies using Vine. We're hoping to bring Department of Corrections on board sometime in the next year or two. They have some IT issues, so hence that has not let us be able to interface with them. Some good news, though, is a couple of our big counties that are not on Vine is Arapahoe, Jefferson, and El Paso. And Jefferson has just agreed to come on Vine, so super excited about that. That will happen next June. They're actually making a change in their jail management system, so that's when they will come on board. And as far as Arapahoe and El Paso, hopefully sometime in the near future we will get them on board. Sedgwick is not on board right now, but they are. As soon as they also are going through a new jail management system, they have agreed to come on board as well. Besides that, we have all the other counties on. We do have 64 counties in Colorado with 59 jails, so the majority of them are participating, which makes it really a lot. If the more agencies we get on board, the more solid the program is. We also have the Division of Youth, so all the youth notifications that come out of the detention facilities also all are Vine notifications. So, you know, if we get Department of Corrections on board, we'll have a pretty solid program in the state. How do we pay for this? So back in 2013, we were successful in getting House Bill 1241 passed for the state to now pay for it. We were using some funding from the phone calls from offenders in the jail, but that wasn't really generating very much revenue. So it really has made it a lot more solid of a program since we now have the state funding it 100%. So let's go back to the notification part of it. The phone calls they talked about, they do, here in Colorado, we do have it set up that it rings, the phone will ring for 2 full days, 48 hours. I know the video said 24, but in Colorado, it is 48 hours. So that means once the phone call starts, it will continue every half hour until somebody puts in their PIN number, or it goes to an answering machine. If it goes to an answering machine, it leaves a complete message, so someone could pick up their message and hear the message, and then it will switch to every 2-hour basis. But it still continues those full 2 days until a PIN number is put in, and that tells the system the right person answered the phone, they got the message, and the system stops. The other way you can get notification is TTY, email or text. And I highly recommend doing email and text just because you don't have to put in a PIN number. You only get one message. You got the message, and, you know, because a lot of people will forget the PIN number. I think that's probably the toughest thing, even though on our brochures that we have, there is a place that you can write in the PIN number, but still people forget. So I would highly recommend doing an email and text. And I'm going to show you an example of an email and text in another slide. But what I also recommend is if you do text, do email as well, because with the text you get very limited message. We're limited on the number of characters we can do in a text. And an email you get the full message. So I always recommend signing up for both. You will get the phone call from a 502 area code. You know, some people when they look at that think that, you know, it's a wrong number, so they don't answer it. But just know it does come from a 502 area code. And as we said, anyone can register to receive a notification. When we do pull the jail information, we pull every single offender in the jail. We don't just pull offenders that have VRA crimes against them. We pull all the offenders. There's no way really to separate them out. And some people don't have access to internet. So you can always call the 888-263-8463 number, and you have the choice of talking to a live operator 24/7, or you can go through the automated part of it. One thing that is nice is if you do talk to a live operator, they do have over 190 languages there. So they pretty much have any dialect covered. As far as anybody calling in, they would be able to help them. So that's really a nice situation that they have there with all those different languages. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is the VINE data stays in the system for 14 days once an offender is released from jail. So what this means is that, say I'm registered against John Smith. John Smith gets out of jail. I get the notification that he was released. Great. 7 days later, he's rearrested on a theft charge. Then my registration is still in the system for 14 days. So I'm going to get another notification telling me that he was just rearrested and put back in Denver County Jail. So I know that he is now back in jail. My registration stays with him. Again, even though it's a totally different charge, my registration is still attached to him. And now when he gets out, say it's a week later, it's 3 months later, I'm going to get another notification telling me that he was released again from jail. After 14 days, the notification, you will not get any more notifications. The system basically, all the information goes out of the system. So then if he was rearrested, 2 months later on another charge and you knew about that, or if you were involved with that somehow, you could go online to re-register. So again, that stays in there for 14 days. I know some people have asked me, well, how do you know if it's 14 days? Well, you can always go onto the website, put in the name, and it will tell you if he is in jail or if he's out of jail. If his name doesn't even come up, then you know that the 14 days has passed and all that information is out of the system. So that's how it works for that 2-week window. If an offender is transferred to another facility, unfortunately, right now, how it's set up in Colorado is the victim needs to re-register. So if you have an offender that was arrested in Denver County and you signed up to receive a notification, when you get a notification that he's been transferred, you get that email or text that he was transferred. It doesn't tell you where he's transferred to. You will have to call the jail and they will let you know. This is not private information, it is public information, so they will let you know. Or you can call your victim advocate or the DA's office, whoever you're working with. They will be able to tell you. But unfortunately, so say he's transferred from Denver to Boulder County Jail. You are going to have to re-register in Boulder County Jail information. You're still going to go to the same website. You're going to put in his name. It's going to pop up that he's in Boulder County, and you are going to re-register to receive that notification. We are working on a program that possibly is called Registration Link, that possibly we can get once somebody registers, it stays with them no matter where they're transferred to. We applied for a grant for that. We haven't heard, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that does happen. That will make it very easy for us here. The phone history of notification stays in Vine for life. So even though the data leaves after a 14-day period, the actual notification stays in there for life. And this is a really important part of Vine. What this says is that I can look up a phone number that happened, a registration that happened a week ago or 5 years ago. I can look that up and find out exactly what happened with that notification. Did it go to the right person? Did they put in the PIN number? Did they receive it? What exactly happened with it? So that stays in there forever. In fact, when we go into VineWatch, I will show you my very first notification I got almost 4.5 years ago. That's still in the system, and I will know exactly what happened with that. So it is a great tracking mechanism for that. And this really helps the jails, because sometimes you will get people that will say, well, I never got that notification. I can always ask them, okay, what was your contact information then? And I will put that in, and I will know if they didn't get it or not. So again, it is a great tracking mechanism. As I said, offender information is available 24/7 via the internet or calling the 800 number. All our notifications are in English or Spanish, so that was another enhancement that we added to Vine. I wanted to show you some stats for Vine and how much Vine is being used in Colorado. So far this year, we've had over 33,000 registrations. This is just for Colorado. We've had 14,000 phone notifications and 15 TTY, over 15,000 email, and 12,000 text. You can see the email has surpassed the phone, and I feel at some point text will as well too. But you can see it's very active in Colorado, and you know, every county has different statistics. In VineWatch, that is another way I can go in and I can tell you exactly, you know, Archuleta County or Adams County. I can pull up how many notifications they've had, how many registrations. So everything is separated out by county, which is really a nice, for me, way to track for each county their participation. I wanted to show you what the actual notifications look like. So if you're looking at the phone notification, you'll see David Aguilar. He was released from Pueblo County on January 28th, 2015. It always, on the notification, always gives you the jail's phone number. So if there's a question, maybe you didn't understand, you want clarification, you can always call the jail to re-get that clarification. You don't need to look up the number. As you can see, the 4-digit PIN number is what is needed to not keep getting the repeated calls. I did want to mention one other thing about a transfer notification that I don't think I said. So all the notifications go out within that 15-minute window except for a transfer notification. If I am being notified that David Aguilar is being transferred to another county, that my registration is going to have an 8-hour delay on that. And that is just for security purposes. We wouldn't want, say he's part of a gang and have a gang register, and then they can just be waiting right when they get out of jail. So that notification does not even go out until 8 hours after they've been released. They're already in the other secure facility that they've been transported to, whether it's another jail, whether it's Department of Corrections, maybe the Pueblo Mental Health Facility. They're already secure there, and then the notification goes out. You can see on the email notification, you get basically the same information, just very short, and then the text is super short. So that's why I suggest doing a text and email at the same time, so you get more information. So you know we have apps on our phone for everything. Well, we now have Vine apps. It's called Vine Mobile. They are available for Androids and iPhones. You can actually download these from the Vine website, which we're going to go, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. You can download that. You can go to the Play Store and look it up and download it. But what's really nice is if you are someone who is going to be registering regularly, download this, because it's you basically, when you click on the county that you want to look up, that county information stays. The last county you were in, that stays on the app. So when you click on that app, the county information comes up and the offenders are right there. And all you need to do is click on the offender, and it'll ask you, do you want your phone or text or email? So it's a really fast way to register, and if you're registering frequently, it's just a great, easy access point for you. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and go into the websites that we were just talking about. So let's go ahead and go to the Colorado Fine website, colorado-vine.com. That is the website. It is fairly new. I am in charge of it. I don't necessarily keep it as up to date as I should, but I do try to put information under news, training information. I try to keep that up to date. So the video that you actually just saw is under the training icon up here. So if you click on training, we'll go ahead and do that. You'll see the videos right there. So if there's somebody in your office that you would like to have them see this video, you can go ahead and click on that. Also on the Vine website, I'm going to show you there's another video too that is fairly new that just came out, so you can also access that as well. We wanted to try and make this as easy as we could for people to access this information. But on the home page, if you scroll down, you'll see right here, register here. To receive that. It tells you a little bit about the registering process that I just talked about. You can also see down here where you can click on to download that app for your phone. So let's go ahead and click on register here. So what this is going to take you is to vinelink.com website. So you actually can go directly to VineLink, or you can go through the colorado-vine.com website. Multiple choices. And all this information is actually available on the handout. The websites are all on the first page of the handout, because I know I'm giving you a lot of information. So for some of you who have registered, which I know via the poll that some of you have registered before, you'll see a little bit different look to it. This is actually a brand new look that just came out a week ago. So it does look different. Right here, if you click on what is Vine, that's going to give you another, it's really a lot shorter video than what I showed you. It's about 2.5 minutes, but that also gives you a great overview of Vine. So again, if there's somebody who's not on this that you know would benefit from registering, go ahead and give them this website and they can see the video there. So on our old website, we had a big map right here, and all the states were there, and you clicked on the state. What they've changed now is a drop down. So you'll see all the states that are on Vine, which we do have 47 states on Vine. We're going to go ahead and look up Colorado. So give it a minute. It's going to come up, Colorado Vine, and what do you want to do? We want to find an offender. You also can edit your registration. So if you're in this, if you've already registered and you want to edit it, you can go right to that screen, and maybe you need to change your phone number. Maybe you want to change your PIN. Maybe you want to delete your registration. All that can be done right here. You don't need to have a third party do it. You can do that all yourself. So let's go ahead and find an offender. So we're going to click on that. Now, up at the top, you'll see the icon search and register. That's what we want. You'll also see an icon that says local victim services. So I'm sure a lot of you have this information already, but if you've misplaced it or you want a quick place to look it up, we do have all our resources from COVA to CICASA. All that information's here. But let's go ahead and go to search and register. Now I leave it all facilities. So that way it's gonna, if you put in a name, it's gonna pull from all the facilities. Because sometimes people aren't quite sure what county they have gone into. Okay. Okay, so I leave it all facilities, but let's say you wanted to see what agencies are actually in Vine. You can do the drop down and you can see all the counties that are listed here that are in Vine. So if I wanted to choose, like say Adams County, if I put in a name and he's not at Adams County, it's going to come up no records found. So hence I just tend to leave it all facilities, so that way it will do a snapshot of all the counties. It will look into all their records to see where they're at. So I had looked up an Edward Lucero out of Broomfield. So I'm going to go ahead and put in his name. You can do a parcel search if you're not quite sure of the name. You could click on that. And the first name, you could even put in just the first couple initials, and it will pull. We don't need the date of birth or the age, just a name, and we're going to search. Pretty fast. The name came up right there. Yep, he's in Broomfield, the reporting agency. Now say we had multiple Edward Luceros, which that can be kind of a common name. We had multiple Luceros in Colorado. It would come up the names here, but then over here, the reporting agency is where they're being held. So if you were, again, unsure of the reporting agency, you could go to any of them and click on them and check and make sure you have the right one. And speaking of making sure you have the right one, we have gone through and re-interfaced with 40 of our 55 agencies right now. We have gone through and pulled the booking photos, which is really nice when you are registering, because some people maybe aren't quite sure if it's the right person or not, especially if you have a pretty common name. So right here, it doesn't come up with the photo automatically, which is nice because some victims can be re-traumatized by looking at the photo. So it is a total optional thing. But we can click on that and we can see the photo. Yep, that's the person that we want to register. It gives you a little bit of information, their date of birth, age, race, and gender. Yep, that's the one. He's in custody. Well, how do I want to register? So I have all my choices right here. Now for just for demonstration purposes, I am going to go ahead and do phone, email, and text. Again, you do not have to do all three. You could choose one, you could choose two, doesn't matter. But we'll go ahead and do three so I can show you how that registration works. So the next screen comes up and we're going to go ahead and put in my phone number. You have to confirm it with another, repeating it again. This actually has helped with a lot of typos by doing a confirmed phone number. This was something new within the last year, so it has really cut back on wrong phone numbers getting notification. When I told you earlier, you have the choice of English or Spanish right here. You can choose, and then you're going to put in that 4-digit PIN number. And just again, that 4-digit PIN number is what stops the phone call when somebody's receiving the notification. So it is a very important number. Now up at the top, you'll see you can actually have the whole website in English or Spanish, so you can choose that. That actually was another enhancement. A couple years ago, we added 3 enhancements to the Vine program. We added to the booking photos, we added to have the website in Spanish, and we added text notification because not all the states have those. Every state is different in what programs they offer, if the Department of Corrections is on board, what type of notifications they have. So you'll see from the video there were some things that they said, like one of the things was you can look up court dates. Well, Colorado does not have that court module, so you cannot do anything with court dates in Colorado. That is on one of my wish lists, so hopefully someday maybe. But right here, what is this plus sign? So that plus sign means that I can add additional phone numbers here. So maybe I wanted to register my cell, my home, my work. You can add them all from this screen right here. You can just keep adding the plus sign. You can do up to 5 phone calls per, 5 total phone calls per screen. And if you had more than that, you could go out, come back in, and then you would add 5 more. So you can do all that from this screen. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this checkbox here, linking the phones. So what that means, they're all checked. If I put in 3 phone numbers and I leave them all linked, that means if I put in my PIN number for my cell, because that's the first phone call that I answered was my cell. I put in the PIN number. It's going to stop the calls to my work and my home. So when I get home, I'm not answering the phone. It's already stopped. This is really nice, again, if you have multiple phones you want to register. But another thing you can do from this screen, say you're registering yourself and you want to register your mom or a friend. Well, then you would not want to link. You would uncheck the link box because you would want that other person to put in their own PIN number. Again, you could put whatever PIN number, but you would want to make sure you tell them what their PIN number is, because people always kid about doing pranks and putting in someone's phone number and not giving them the PIN number. But you don't want to do that, because that's not, it's very frustrating when you're on the end and you keep getting those phone calls, because phone calls for 2 full days is a lot of phone calls. So that's what this linked box is for the phone. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put in my cell again for text message. Now you'll see that it has a PIN number for a text message. Well, I just told you you don't have to confirm anything. But what that means is if I wanted to go back onto that first screen where I wanted to make any changes to my registration, I have to know the PIN number to make any changes on this text. So while I may not use the PIN number when I'm actually getting the notification, I would use the PIN number to make any corrections or changes I wanted on that notification. The last thing I'm going to put in is my email. Again, put it in twice, and it cuts down on the wrong emails. If I wanted my work email, my personal email, again, I could add up to 5 per screen. I click register. Oh, register for notification. Okay, let's see, did I do that? Okay. Well, it's probably just all confused because I added all these extra boxes. I'm going to add a couple more phone numbers. I'm going to put those in. Oh, I think I did that wrong. 303 750 5896. I'm going to put in a PIN number for that. I guess I'm just going to add 4 phone numbers. Oop. 2 69188. Put in a PIN number again, and then I'll do the last one. Okay. Let's see. 3, 4, 4. It's amazing how many phone numbers we all know and use all the time, and how we will remember them. Okay. Let's see, did I do that right? 720-344-4618. Okay. Okay, now register. PIN must be, oh, did I not do a PIN on that one? Oh, see, the system will not let you get through anything. PIN must be 4 digits. I did. Oh, I'm sorry, right here. Okay, so I left off the PIN number for the text. Okay, your registration was successful. You will be notified when the status of the offender changes. So I know this took us a long time because I was doing a demo, but you can literally do this in 5 seconds. So fast, so easy. You could see it's totally anonymous. It does not ask what your relationship is, who you are, your name. An old registration, an old notification system we used to have called Voice. I don't know if any of you remember that or not, but that used to ask for names, social security numbers, addresses. It was quite lengthy. So I really appreciate this, the easiness of this. And it's a very user-friendly database too. Now, I wanted to show you down here some counties that are temporarily offline. You'll see Custer, La Plata, Lake, Otero, and Saguache. So we have some counties that are offline, and most all of these are offline because they are going through some jail management system changes, or they've done some upgrades. La Plata just came off. I'm not really quite sure if they had an internet issue or what, but I know the others all are going through some system changes. If that does happen, when they're offline, you cannot register. So generally, we try to keep an agency offline for very minimal. We have a lot of IT staff that are working on this in APRIS, and they try to keep them off for a very short period of time. So if you see one off, you can wait maybe a couple hours, go back, and then chances are they're probably back online. If you have any questions, go ahead and under the questions or in the comments box, go ahead and ask me, and I will go ahead and answer that. Okay, so that's pretty much it for Vine. Very easy, again, very user-friendly. Anybody can do it. The next website I wanted to show you is the website called Vine Watch. This is like a behind the scenes for Vine. You have to have a username and password. So if you are interested in Vine Watch access after I show you this program, I will need you to email me or call me, and we can have a discussion about it, what role you play, and then depending on our conversation, I can go ahead and get you set up with access onto that. I'm the only one that can give you access, so you would need to contact me. And again, on my handout, on the first page, is all my contact information, my phone number, my cell, and my email. So you can get a hold of me at any time. Okay, vinewatch.com. You'll see when I clicked on Colorado, it gave me 2 icons here. Denver actually came on Vine in 2000. They were the very first county to come on board. They piloted it for Colorado. They so have been on it for 15 years. They are the largest county in Colorado, and they are very successful with it. They use it as their primary notification. And what I mean by that is some of my counties use Vine as their primary, meaning they have every VRA crime sign up for Vine, whether the jail does it for them or whether the victim advocate does it, or if the victim advocate has the victim do it. However, every county does it a little bit different. If you have any questions on your particular county on how the notifications are getting into Vine, go ahead and call me or email me, and I can let you know on that county specific. But again, anybody can go onto the Vine website to do it. But so Denver uses it as their primary. I have some counties like Weld County, for example, they use it as their secondary notification. So what that means is that they still have the jail whenever somebody is being released and there is a victim attached to that offender. Weld County will call the offender. Call the victim. Before the offender gets out of jail. So that's their primary. They always call that victim that's in the file. But still, anybody can go online to register, and that victim knows she's going to get the call from the jail, but she also can go online to Vine to register. But then we have Boulder, who's fairly new to Vine, and they use it as their primary, as does Denver. So the jail does not make any calls. They have everybody, if they want to have a notification, because Colorado is an opt-in state, meaning they have to request notification. So if they request notification, the jail or victim advocate or the DA's office will direct them to go to the 800 number or to the Vine website to register to receive that notification. So let's go to vinewatch.com. You have to have a login and password, which again, contact me if this is something that would be helpful for you with your job. So we're going to go ahead and you'll see all the different choices that you have here. The first thing I always like to do is we'll go to Broomfield, because that is the county that I registered our inmate on. And this is everybody in custody in Broomfield. So you can see they currently have 78 people in their jail right now. I could pull that for any of my counties. So we're going to go ahead and let's go to our Edward Lucero. You can see this number, 1746. It's the OID, the offender ID number. That's a number that the system, the jail management system, automatically generates when they input somebody into their system. So right here we have Edward Lucero. Yes, his photo is out there. Now the jails all have the option, if they have somebody that's going to be in a photo lineup, or if it's a very sensitive case and they don't want that picture out there, all they have to do is click on this toggle button right here and they can stop the photo from being out there. So it is really nice for the jails to have that access if they don't want a photo out there. I'm very selective on who has that information for obvious reasons. You get more information in here than you do because this is not for the public. This is mostly for victim advocates and law enforcement. So if you scroll down, you'll see all the registrations on this particular individual. Now, why is there so many? Well, there's so many because if you remember, I put in 4 phone numbers. So there is a couple others that are not this one. The very first one is not mine, that has the PIN 2113, and this one that has the PIN 2885. So I don't know who they are. They could be the victim. They could be a victim advocate. They could be law enforcement. They could be friends, family, could be a nosy neighbor. I don't know. All I know is the phone number. And then the charges are listed below as to what they are in the jail for. So this is, again, not open to the public. There are some screens here that really you wouldn't have any need for. Override screen. This is if the system's down, the jails have access to get notifications out. So just know, even if the system is down, notifications are still going to go out because we have put in place a way for notifications to go out immediately when the system's down. There's, you're always going to have IT difficulties. So it's a pretty easy way for them to still get that out there. So I wanted to show you, when we're in their profile, this is the information. And also people forget their PIN number. So if a PIN number is forgotten, I can go in here and I can see, oh yeah, your PIN number was 2113. So there is a way to go in and look up someone's PIN number as long as you have their phone number. Now, one of the things I wanted to also show you was what a notification looks like. Remember I said that that stays in there for life, right? So let's go to a phone number. So say someone comes up to me and says, I never got a notification. I ask them, well, was it a phone, an email, or text? And they say phone. Okay, give me your phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my phone number and generate. It's going to generate a roster of any time that phone, my phone, has ever been contacted. Now, since I do this for my job, I have 230 registrations. You can see up here. Most people would have 1 or 2. So I do have a lot, but if you look up here, you'll see the very first notification I ever received was May 10th of 2011. It came to me, I confirmed it. This ID number, what that is that offender ID number. So if I go to the Weld jail and I put that offender ID number in there, it's going to tell me who that person was. Now, that information, as I told you earlier, only stays in Vine for 14 days. So obviously, it's not going to be here anymore. But if I go to Weld, put in that number, it'll come up. It'll tell me when they're released, and I can cross-reference that as to when I got my notification. And then you can see, what was the description? Well, it was a transfer notification. And I can go even any further and click that yellow eye, and it is date stamped, time stamped as to exactly what happened with that call. So it went to answer machine, so then it went to every 2-hour basis because something did pick it up. And then the second time it called me, I put in my PIN number and it was confirmed. So everything in VineWatch is tracked. Let's go down to an undeliverable. So confirmed success is an email, confirmed is a phone call. So let's go down to this undeliverable one here for Douglas County. I'm going to click on that. So you can see it started calling me on January 11th, went to answering machine multiple times every 2 hours. You can see it's pretty accurate. Every 2 hours it's calling me. I put in a wrong code. Okay, then it called me 3 more times. And then it finally, after 2 full days of calling me, it went to undeliverable. Now, this is never the scenario we want, but unfortunately, with our world and people changing cell phones daily, weekly, you know, that it's just the way it is. People don't always give us their correct phone numbers. And a lot of times, even the jails that still make those manual phone calls, they can't always get through because the phone numbers have been changed. But the VRA, the Victim Rights Amendment, states that a reasonable attempt has to have been made to contact that victim, which, of course, we definitely want them to be notified, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. But by showing that proof that it did contact that number that the victim signed up or gave somebody to register them, it shows that an attempt was made to contact them. So that is really, was there a question? Oh, can you unregister? So someone had a question on can you unregister? Great question. Yes, you can. So when we were in Vine Link screen, when we were in the public screen, you can click on that very first. It gave the choice of adding a registration or changing a registration. You can go right to there and you can change your registration. So you can do that, or you can actually, let me show you here. Say, let's go back to a notification report. Okay, so we're right here. Oh, just a minute, excuse me. Let's go to a registration report. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put in my phone number. And it's going to tell me everybody that I'm registered against. It's reading. Okay. You'll see I'm registered. I have a lot of registrations. All these here. So I can go ahead and this, oh, back. So yeah, some of these registrations are not, well, they are still all here, but some of them just came out of, they're still within that 14-day window. But your best bet is to go back, and probably easiest for you is to go into the Vine link and to register. From here, you could go to modify a registration. So say I wanted to change my registration. I would put in my phone number. I can update it, I can disable it, I can delete it, and it's gonna, I have to put a reason for deleting it, and then I would click next, and it would delete it, change it, or disable it, either one. So you can do that from here, or you can do it from the main screen. Great question. Okay, so maybe you want to see if someone's registered. You can run like an actual registration report. So let's go back to under offenders. Let's go to Broomfield. If there's any particular county somebody wants me to look up for them, I'm more than happy to do it. Just go ahead and put that under the question. So Broomfield, who's in custody right now in Broomfield that has a registration on them? Okay, right there. It's going to tell me everybody in Broomfield that has registrations. Whoa, look at this particular person, Stephen Donahue. Let's go to him. He has a lot of registrations on him. Well, you know, if you scroll down, you'll see a lot of you'll see some charges on there. So anyways, yes, he has a lot of registrations on him, but that's a way that you can look. And then if you are a victim advocate and you're not sure if your victim registered, she said, yes, I'm going to register, I'm going to go home and register. You can go in here and you can check and look at their phone number. Well, their phone number is not on that list. Okay, well, she didn't register. You know, maybe I need to help her register. So then call her and say, you know what, would you like me to register you? And you can go ahead and register her. Just make sure you give them the PIN number. That is very critical. But again, if you're going to do an email and text, you do need the PIN number for the text because they are going to ask for that. But just let them know, and then you know they're registered. I have a few of my counties that if it is a victim rights crime, the jail will automatically register them. But they have a set PIN number. So the county may have a set PIN number, maybe 1234, maybe 5555. So they automatically register and put in that county-wide PIN number, and then the patrol or victim advocate will let the victim know what that PIN number is. So again, if you have any specific questions for your county, what your particular county is doing, just let me know and I can give you more specific information, since I'm not sure where all the people attending this webinar, I'm not sure what counties you're dealing with. So just get in touch with me and I can give you some more specific information for your county. Okay, so we went over the notifications, the registrations, and the offenders. The statistics, that is a nice, that's for, like, say you wanted to look up a particular county. We'll stay with Broomfield. I can look up and see how much are they actually using Vine. So, well, they had 71 phone calls, 167 texts, and 215 emails. And then you can see what their new registrations were. So they, that county really likes their emails. That is how they like to register. And if you have some grant paid positions, sometimes this information, the statistical information, can be helpful when you're doing grants as well. So I can offer you more information about that if you give me a call. And then right from here, you can also add a registration, modify, or update a registration. So I went over that a little bit. You can search for a particular offender here. So if I wanted to put in a name, I could look for an offender from here too. So we'll go ahead and look up, we'll stay with Edward Lucero. So again, you can look him up here. His profile, yep, that's who it is. We're going to click on his OID number. Again, his profile comes up. Anytime you see a green R, you can click on that and you can register right from there. So I can put in my information right from there if you're in VineWatch. And then my admin, this is where I can add users, update users, that type of thing. So this VineWatch can be really helpful if you're working with victims. Another thing you can do when you're in an offender screen, it's not going to come up. Let's go to we'll go to Adams County, and it's going to run a roster of everybody in Adams for me. Okay, they have 826 there. We're going to click the OID number. Now, say this Teresa Akivis is, she was released and people were getting notifications. There would be a button right here that says pending call. I can click on that and I can cancel a call. If somebody calls, and I get these calls, you know, the wrong number, somebody took over my new cell phone number. That cell phone number was already registered. It's not my, you know, it's not, I don't know who this offender is, and they can be frustrated because, you know, as I said, that's a lot of calls. And I can go ahead and stop that call. But I do have to ask them a lot of questions. I'm the only one in Colorado that can stop a pending call. And I always talk to the person. I find out exactly who they are. If I'm unsure, I will call the jail and have them verify some information for me. But generally, I can usually tell who's calling me and if there's a problem. So there is a way to stop those pending calls as well. Does anybody have any questions regarding Vine Watch? I'm guessing not. I did not see any more questions. And that was all that I had for you today. The handouts that they said are going to be available, there are 2 sets of handouts that you will see. The first one are the 2 websites that I went into and a breakdown of what those websites entail. And then some information, my PowerPoint's in there, some information about Mobile Patrol, and the Create an Awareness. This is great if you're working in a facility that you want to get some information out about Vine. There's some ideas there that you can follow to let people know. And then the last page of that handout, I did a white report on why would somebody want Vine? What are the benefits of it? And so obviously I can ramble and talk a lot, but I listed them all on that white page, so you can look at that. And then the next handout is the website addresses, but I did screenshots of all the different websites I was in. And so that just makes it a little more helpful because I did go through a lot of information today for you. So if you go to that handout, you'll see the different screenshots. And that's really all I have for you. I really appreciate all of you being on the call today. And again, my contact information, I will go ahead and give it to you. My work number is 720-344-4618. My cell is 303-946-8915. And my email is svillannueva@csoc.org. I work at the County Sheriff's of Colorado office over in Littleton. Feel free to call me or email me with any questions, whether it has to do that you want access, if you have any questions about your particular county, anything I can clarify for you today, yeah, go ahead and get in touch with me. But thank you again, and I'm going to turn it over back to Aguida, and she can wrap it up. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Sharon. This has been a very informative and important webinar that provides a lot of information that is life-saving. So I thank you all for being here. Any questions, again, you can email us and you can email Sharon. We will be sending an email right after we're done, and that will have all the handouts that Sharon was talking about. Again, I will strongly I will really appreciate if you all fill out that the survey at the end and let us know, give us a little bit of information on what would you like and other information that is important to you. Thank you again for being here, and we will hope to see you in November. We are going to have a webinar which is going to cover, the presenter is going to be the Dove, which is the I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Which Dove is going to present to all of us handling crisis calls, and it's important because it will be for deaf survivors. So please join us on November 4th. You can register the same way that you registered today. And thank you again. Have a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful weekend.